I know there was an element of future frustration around the nature of the conversation around the final last year, and the fact that they have the chance now to put that to bed, to prove conclusively that they're the better team. I think that counts for a lot as well. So there's obvious motivation for Glen, and even you add in the factor, the whole rigmarole around what was going on with Derry, and it's come out subsequently that Maurice Brosnan was first approached for that job. I thought that was very telling when he didn't take that, where he decided to stay with Glen. You're kind of speculating to a certain extent, but to me, doing that clearly it signalled that he thought he would have involvement in January and beyond, where it'd be very hard to balance both. And so I think that meant that Glen were coming for an Ireland to put right the wrong of last year. But yeah, I do think there is an element for Kilmacud too, that it would be very sweet to put this to bed, to have no doubt, no speculation, no ongoing week-long discussion about the nature of whatever happened in the last couple of minutes, just proving on the field that they're the better side. I'd say that'll count for a lot.
How much of a factor will Park Esler play? That it is in Uri. I think it's the exact travel time for the both clubs. I think it's an hour 27 minutes for Glen. It's an hour 33 or so for Kilmacud. And I suppose taking Kilmacud out at Croke Park as well. I think they've played like 8 championship games in the last 3 years there. 3 Leinster finals, 3 All-Ireland finals, a Leinster semi-final, All-Ireland semi-final. Is it a massive impact will it have on the game that it is in Uri, a smaller pitch, a more intimate pitch?
I think it's a good question. And I probably should say, as somebody who is very quick to criticise venues, I think this was the right call. I think they put it, the fact that this isn't in Croke Park, we didn't have any debate about that, where some people might have feared that, particularly after the provincial finals, I think is a good thing. It has to have a factor. Like it has to. You can't argue that the familiarity was going to be an advantage for Kilmacud, and I would argue on the other side of the mouth that it's not a factor, that it isn't there. So it has to be. And I do think maybe more broadly, the nature of that game last year, not the way it finished, but the way these two teams match up is really interesting. And there's probably that would feed into it just as much, especially in a venue like this, in terms of the way Glen tend to play. They're kind of more of an aggressive, more of a kicking team. Kilmacud are a bit more of a patient team. They kind of drag out attacks a lot more. They're much more patient with it, and they kind of malfunctioned to a certain extent in that All-Ireland final last year, in that their conversion just drops massively. They weren't able to take most of their chances. But Glen can't bank on that again, I don't think. Now, maybe, who knows, maybe in Uri all of a sudden that happens again and their conversion drops, but we haven't seen any evidence of that in Croke Park yet. So I think it'd be really interesting to see if Kilmacud hit their straps, what are Glen going to do in response? Because what we've seen so far doesn't really work.